Hey everybody, Sifu Keith here, and in today's series, it's the third in our podcast series, and I'm titling this, Why You Should Train Your Forms. I have the question asked to me over and over again, why do you train forms? People's responses vary over and over again. Some people say training forms is a waste of time, some people love it. I believe it's a very important and integral part of your martial arts training, especially for beginning. So I'm going to give you 12 different things in training in forms, or if you want to call them katas, that have you really good benefits as a martial artist. So let's take point one, muscle memory. When you repeat practice of forms, it just helps you in developing your muscle memory. It allows techniques to be executed automatically during sparring or self-defense situation. So it'll help you develop combos and stringing techniques together. 2, 3, 4, 5 movements, and this will help you with your sparring, especially learning to develop a sequence. So I don't care what it is that you're training, you always want to get it to the point of unconscious competency. So again, developing that muscle memory is really, really important when you're working on your forms. Next aspects of form, especially as a new and younger martial artist, coordination and balance. Forms practice requires precise movements that enhance your coordination, balance, and control for effectiveness in performing martial arts. And I think one of the best sequences of that is, if you see it, most people are going to look like I'm crazy, is in the Tai Chi. In Tai Chi, they move slowly at times to really show what things are not. So you really need good balance and precision when you're doing these techniques slow, holding their kicks out. It's an amazing coordination tactic. But most people, they don't want to spend that much time with it. So if you don't want to go through a specific stretching routine and you don't want to work on just balance, well, here's an opportunity to train both by doing your form. Mental discipline, number 3. Practicing forms fosters mental focus and discipline as it requires concentration, the ability to remember and execute sequences accurately. I like mental discipline. I like the martial mindset. You're making a commitment to do something and to learn a specific task. So it takes time. And again, my big go-to word during this whole podcast is unconscious competency. To have it refined so much that you don't have to think about it. And again, it just flows naturally through you. Topic number 4, understanding techniques. Don't just do blind forms. So when you understand technique application, forms provide a structured way to understand the application of a technique in different scenarios, helping practitioners visualize combat and situations. When I do my forms, it doesn't matter what aspect, even though you do not fight with a form, I visualize how I apply that specific section of my form or my kata if I was using it in combat. Like I said, you're not going to fight with a form, but by utilizing your forms and taking each piece individually and looking to understand how it's applied, it'll change. It'll change how you do the form. The form becomes more alive. Speaking of energy control is our 5th topic. Energy control, training form often incorporates breathing techniques that help martial artists to learn or control their energy, enhancing their overall performance. It had amazed me when I had moved down to South Jersey. As meeting different martial artists, there were so many martial artists that never were taught how to breathe. So learning how to coordinate your exhales and your inhales based on what techniques you're doing, making sure every time you're striking or taking a strike that you're exhaling. But a lot of people lack breath control. I had friends of mine that had done some traditional karate, and please, this is not a chop on traditional karate, but they would ki through a lot of things. Then when they went out to perform, their teachers never really instructed them that a lot of ki-eyes is not good because then you gas out. So oxygen intake is oxygen intake, and you expel it, you run out of gas, So learning how to breathe and control your movements really enhances your overall endurance. So once again, really focus on your energy control when you're training. Point 6, creativity and adaptability. Engaging with forms can stimulate a martial arts creativity, encourage them to adopt techniques and invent new applications based on their understanding of fundamentals. So as you grow in martial arts, you start to think about, okay, how am I going to string together a good fighting sequence? One of the things that I needed to work on was developing combinations. So my Sifu would tell me you need to have 5 sets of 5 or 5 sets of 7 techniques, which are really just mini forms. So as you start stringing things together, you're developing these training combinations, which again are mini forms. So by doing your forms, it really, really helps you become creative as you start moving and learn how to link and flow things together. Point 7, tradition and culture. Forms often carry historical significance and cultural elements, connecting practitioners to the roots of their martial arts and fostering a sense of community and respect. I do believe that people start to streamline their system more and more and more, and then eventually it looks like nothing where it came from. So for posterity's sake, to keep the form alive, I think that's really important. The understanding of how and why it was developed and the meaning behind the form. So I'm a big fan of holding on to traditions and the culture because I think that's an important part of what we do. As you go through your training in martial arts, my Sifu used to say, when you drink the tea, never forget where the water came from. So understand and honor the portions of the past that brought you to the present. Number 8, competition preparation. For those interested in competition, forms training is as essential as it prepares them for performance, aspects, scoring, and presentation. Everybody's in martial arts for a different reason, but there's a lot of people out there that love point and forms competition. So by training your forms over and over again and enhancing it and learning how, it's probably not a good word for it, but to play the game. There are rules to the games. There's guidelines that the judges are looking for in scoring. So as you get an opportunity to train your form, you can refine and review everything you're doing, or review and refine it. That'll really make your form spot on, picture perfect, where your pauses need to be, where your broken rhythm need to be, where you really need to aspect of expressing your jing and not. So competition preparation is another great reason for training your forms. Number 9, injury prevention. Properly executed forms can help strengthen muscles and joints, reducing the risk of injury during more intense training or sparring sessions. My Sifu taught me years ago, whatever form you're going to do, whatever you're going to train, take one of your forms and train it as slow as possible. It's a great way to warm the body up and start conditioning the muscles. So if you look at when you're training your forms, it's really an overall full body workout. Arms, legs, core, back, shoulders, training your breath work, training your eyes. But it's a great way to warm up, and it's still a good muscle building exercise. So by developing a stronger body, even just by doing forms, that's definitely going to increase your overall health and help you get through your day much better. Number 10, self-reflection. Forms provide a framework for self-assessment. As a martial artist, they can evaluate their progress, identify their strengths and weaknesses, and set specific goals for improvement. This self-reflection is crucial for personal development within the martial arts journey. I believe people come up with all kinds of stories, and I have a saying that I work by. You can lie to anybody, but you can't lie to yourself. So as long as you're being honest with yourself, and you'll find your weaknesses, where you're tight, where you need more power, and you go back and either you've taped yourself doing forms or you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you should be able to, A, feel where your weaknesses are, and 2, see and identify them. So it's a great way for self-reflection. And then I like to use my forms just really as another form of meditation, which we'll get on to next. Number 11, spiritual development. For some practitioners, forms serve as a meditative practice, promoting mindfulness and a deeper connection to the self. This aspect can lead to improved emotional well-being and stress relief. Like I said, for me personally, I love to use forms as a nice deep form of meditation. It helps me clear my mind and stay focused. And the last topic we're going to speak on today, number 12, building character. The discipline and commitment required to master forms can lead to character development. Traits such as resilience, humility, and respect for others are often cultivated through the rigorous practice of forms. I do believe it's giving you a level of commitment and giving you an objective to master something. So I believe by incorporating these elements, form training becomes more than just a physical exercise. It evolves into a holistic practice that nurtures the mind, body, and spirit of a martial artist. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I look forward to bringing you more. Any questions, feel free to contact me at warriorsbreath.com. Have a great day.